It was really a very enriching and an enlightening experience, not only for us teachers, but definitely for the students. I would like to know your experience about how the session
That was wonderful. It was so nice. The beauty was that the children, they were they were so much up with their ideas. They were ready to try out different things, and then they had so many questions as well. And it is at very few places that children come up with such wonderful questions. I was so impressed by one boy, Sardarji boy, I don't know his name. Yes. So he asked me, how can a transparent object cast a shadow? Now, even the older people, the teachers are not able to ask that question, but he was great with it. And then so many students after the workshop, they came and satisfied their doubts. This is something which is very, very unique to this place, I found. And yes, during the workshop, you had to tell the children to quieten down. But then, the noise was very creative kind of noise, because they were thinking and they were discussing, and so it was a very lively group of children that you had. Wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am. And one advice that you would like to give the teachers of the budding generation and the students, so that STEM becomes a part of their everyday lives?
Yeah, so see, the thing is that the teachers can create as many occasions as possible to make the children imagine and visualize and analyze. Maybe you can show photographs, you can show videos, you can show demonstrations, but it's extremely important to give them opportunities in which they can observe minutely. They can ask questions without fear of being shut down. They need not be afraid that the ideas that bringing forward will be judged as you are right and you are wrong. Rather than that, if teachers take pains to examine the idea in the light of scientific theories or experiments, and then together decide with the students whether the idea is right or wrong, not the student. That goes a long way in creating an atmosphere of ease where they are not afraid to voice their thoughts.
Absolutely, ma'am, and I totally agree that there is no such thing as wrong answers or wrong experiments, because there is so much to learn when we infer it, when we think about it. So, ma'am, undoubtedly you are not only an inspiration to the budding teachers but also to the students. Could you just share your journey, how life has been, and what made you like this?
See, the thing is that I had one cousin. So whenever she would come in holidays and spend time with me, she would show me such things, which was so amazing. I mean, I was always in, ऐसा भी हो सकता है, अच्छा ऐसा भी होता है, and that really made me fall in love with physics. So then, of course, I went on to become a National Science Talent Scholar, and then I went to BITS Pilani to study. And then after I passed out from BITS Pilani, 10 years after that, I got into teaching. So my first class was a class on magnets. The previous teacher had suddenly left the school, and she had taught the magnets chapter only half. So I thought, let me revise what children have done. So I took a bar magnet and tied with a thread, and before I suspended it, I asked the children, if I suspend this bar magnet, in which direction will it come to rest? Everybody said north south. Very happy. So I said, acha chalo, show me with your fingers. And to my utter shock, they all pointed towards the blackboard. So I said, why are you pointing towards blackboard? Because ma'am, magnet comes in rest in north south direction. So I said, how do you know that is the north? So they said, because in maps we always see north away from us. So that, and then I thought that today, if I give them this question in the exam, they'll all score 100%. They know by heart that it will come to rest in north-south direction. But in the test of real life, they would fail miserably, because they'll not be able to use the bar magnet to find out north-south direction.
True.
Because supposing near a bar magnet there is an iron piece, iron object, it will not show true and north, true north,
Right.
or even magnetic north. Then without looking at the direction of the direction in which the sun is rising, without knowing the local east, west, north, south, they will not be able to verify. So what is the use of such studies which you cannot put to practice, or which you can not use for doing something in real life?
Right.
So that first day I asked myself that after my class, can my child only pass the exam with high scores, or can he do something else also? And how I can make him do something else also, and what is it that I should make him do, so that he puts into practice what the child is studying in the classroom. So that is where the journey started, and here I am.
So ma'am, when we proceed towards higher classes, physics starts to become more mathematical in nature, right? And we as teachers and even students love activities, love experiments. But when it comes to the mathematical skills, that is something that students truly struggle in, right? So could you suggest a way in which physics can be made fun, plus students are also advancing in their mathematical skills, because that is a very important skills needed for a bright future in physics, engineering, or any field whatsoever?
See, I think the parents and the teachers have to recognize the fact that a learner learns what he wants to learn or she wants to learn, where he wants to learn, how he wants to learn, when he wants to learn. If you see small children, they are playing, and during playing they are learning what they want, because whatever interests them, they learn. So the onus is on us as parents and as teachers to create those situations which will interest the children. The way to their mind is through their hearts.
Yeah.
So if you touch their hearts, then you can touch their minds also. So how you will create those situations which will touch their heart? So you have to have a personal connection.
Yeah.
Somehow you have to go beyond that four walls and table chairs and connect with the child to learn a little bit about his or her personal interests. And then maybe create a situation which interests him.
Yeah.
For example, there was once a girl, Nilakshi, in my class 11th. Never ever she did any homework. She got hardly even 5 marks out of 70 in any exam or test. I was at my wit's end, so what should I do with this girl? So one day I called her, I said, Nilakshi, beta, why you have taken science when you don't feel like doing anything? She said, ma'am, actually I want to become a forensic scientist,
Okay.
forensic expert. And because the way to forensic expert is through science and physics, I had to take it, but I don't like it. So I said, okay, but you know that you have to clear, otherwise you cannot go in forensic. So she said, ma'am, yeah, but I just not able to bring myself to it. I went home that day, I searched and searched and searched. Finally, I got one challenge in which, there is a murder mystery where from a hotel, outside the wall of the hotel, there is a man found lying, dead. And he was staying at some 5th floor of the hotel. The police had marked the place where the body was lying, and it had to be decided whether he jumped off the window or was he pushed out of the window. So I gave this mystery to her, and next day she had done her homework. So I said, how did you do? She said, ma'am, I knew nothing about the projectiles. I just discussed with my father, and my father said that what would be the difference if somebody was pushed and if somebody was jumping off. So I thought that like a ball, if I drop the ball, it will drop straight, and if I throw the ball, it will go forward. So I realized suddenly that we are talking about projectiles. And then my father sat with me and he explained the projectiles, and I did the homework.
Very true, ma'am. Like whenever we teach such concepts, we usually take that example of ball, but bringing in examples which connects them to their everyday life that will make that subject more interesting for
See,
them.
I would never have taken that example because in the classroom, you know, we are sort of forbidden to talk about
Yes.
dead bodies and murder and all this. But because she was interested in forensic, so I thought, okay, let me take up this example. So it was possible only when I connected with her outside the class. So we have to understand how children learn, what interests them. Nowadays, the children are digital natives, but the assignments that we give hardly ever use digital world. And I think you've been part of one of my
Yes.
webinars where I showed you how you can create thinking classrooms
Yes.
using internet resources which are visual in
Yes,
nature.
yes, yes.
So that will interest the children more. So the teachers and parents have to move with times
Yes.
and have a little bit of hold on children's psychology, that how they learn, and we have to change our methods accordingly.
Correct, correct. We need to
And
evolve
you
with time.
talked about mathematics.
Yes.
They'll not come to mathematics if we impose from the top. First, you have to make them feel that at this point in physics we are stuck. How do we go forward? Is there some help? Yes, maths can come to help. Because when you want to find the, let's say, instantaneous rate of change, they know how to find the average rate of change of position by finding average speed. But when they want to find out instantaneous rate of change, so if you're squeezing the intervals to 0, you get a ratio like 0 by 0, which is not determinable. So what do? So it was Newton or Leibniz who came to the idea of integration and differentiation. So there is a need. Now once the child sees there is a problem, we are stuck, and there is maths coming to help, why to talk, give this word maths? Just talk about the way forward.
Yes.
Let's not divide the situations in maths, physics, biology, chemistry. There is a need, there is a problem, and this is how it can be solved. That's it.
Right. So, like, not introducing maths as such, but okay, there is a problem. How can we solve it?
Yeah.
And then maths comes to our rescue to
Yeah.
solve
And
our
by
particular
problem, I don't mean numerical problem.
Yeah.
Problem is
Anything
a
in
problematic situation.
anything in
Yeah.
general. Yes. Right. So thank you so much, ma'am, for the session. It was really inspiring, enlightening, and all the teachers in Kunskap School and International, we learned so much from you. Not only the students, and we will try to become
Not
much
only,
better
I am
and better
sure
teachers.
teachers here are doing something right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the students, you know, I don't care whether they were so disciplined or not that they would sit pin drop silence. But they were inquisitive, they were asking, they were bringing ideas, whether right or wrong, that is different.
True.
But the fact that they were bringing ideas to the table, that speaks that something is right here.
Yes. Thank you.
Right? You are not blocking their
Right.
thinking. You are somehow you must be encouraging it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so upfront with it.
We truly believing in unlearning and relearning everything.
Yeah.
Not only students, teachers, everyone. And that's how we are trying to progress with time and evolve with time.